Hello, my name is Kelly Bluen. I am a certified Zentangle teacher. Welcome to my florals series. This video is going to be a little bit different because I recorded it and released it with no audio. I apologize for that. My microphone must not have been working, and so the whole thing was recorded with no audio. So now I'm going to try to do a voiceover, which is a little bit strange. So we'll see how it goes. So I'm showing you that I've got a little sketchbook. I have a micron pen. It is a plastic nib pen. These are the tiles, the Zentangle 3.5-inch tiles that I draw on. And I've got a graphite pencil and a blending tool with an eraser. So I'm going to draw first in the book, and then I will draw on those little tiles, and I tape all of mine together to make a beautiful garden. This is so strange trying to imagine what I was saying. Okay, so we're going to go into the book, find our new page. Look at all those fun tangles. So we are on day, I loved that one, 16. So in my little sketchbook, I always write the name of the tangle and the name of the artist. I'm not sure why I'm moving my pen all over the place. I was probably saying something really important. Okay, day 16, which means we only have 7 days left of these florals. And I know you guys are going to be sad, and so am I when it's over. Okay, this one is called Fluxblossom. It's a beautiful tangle. And it has flux in it, which is one of my all-time favorite go-to tangles. And I'm not exactly sure how to pronounce her name. I'm probably going to say it wrong, but I would say it as Maanyata, but I'm not sure if that's correct. She is a CZT. All right, so we're going to begin with a flux shape, but it's really an upside down flux. So we're going to have the point at the bottom and then a nice curve at the top. And it doesn't matter what size you make this. Oh, I'm showing you other tangles where we used flux. We used it on Cirque. We used flux hold gem. We used it there. And I think there's one more. Oh, in the middle of the bicorn. If that's how you say it, I'm not sure. But it's a very common organic shape. Okay, so I've got our first little flux there, and now I'm going to add one to each side, but I'm going to go up a little bit and then over and come back down to that point. But see how I made that just a little bit taller than the first one? Same thing on the left side. I go up and over and down. It's pretty cute so far. Then we go from the center of the one side to the center of the other, and we're going to add a bump. That's going to be the center of our flower. And then I'm going to fill mine with little circles, which in Zentangle, that's called tipple. You could put any kind of a center in that you want, but these little circles are what she uses, and they look adorable. So the next step, we put in 2 little lines at the top, and then we're going to add a bump over it, and that's going to be a petal that's in the background. So it's not a full petal. It doesn't have a point at the bottom. It's just a partial petal. And then on each side, instead of going up and over, we're going to go down a little bit and over. So one on each side. And then we need one more, so we go down a little bit more and we just connect that to those bottom petals. Look at how pretty that is. I love this one. I think I say that about every tangle, but I really do like this one a lot. So then in traditional flux fashion, we're going to add a little flick of our pen and a dot. Cute little details. And then just a tiny bit and a dot at those top petals. And then for a stem, we're just going to come straight down. Nothing too fancy. Look at how adorable that is. Okay, looks like I'm removing the book, but I think I bring it back because I wanted to show you an embellishment. So on one of the first pages of my little sketchbook, I made a page called Embellishments just because I love adding little things to our garden. So I've been drawing a few things. Some of them have names, some of them don't have names. That little fairy bee had a name, and he's just so cute, although somebody said it looked like a mosquito, which is true. So I'm going to show you a little dragonfly that I like to draw because I love dragonflies. So I do just a real quick long oval, and then I do another one on the opposite side. And then I do two more, but I let them cross over the first and second ovals. And then I do a little spiral and some antenna. It's not a tangle pattern, it's just a little dragonfly that I like to make. You could also make him with a straight line and some antenna. He's so cute. This one I'm going to show you with a little head and a body. So make it your own. Whichever one you find cute, go ahead and make that. And then somebody else asked for a butterfly, and so I did the Beautifly. I love that. Instead of butterfly, Beautifly. And this is a tangle pattern from Victoria. Gosh, I'm writing so small it's hard to read. Camarina. And this is one that I did in, I think, our March drawing challenge. And so she does it all in one stroke, and I'm going to show you that kind of quickly right here where she goes around, then does a little one, and then she doesn't even lift her pen. She just curves up and down, and then she goes all the way back up to the top and does a big wing and a little. I think that's a little tricky to do it all in one stroke, so I tend to break it up. So I do the big wing and the little one, which I think is a cute detail, having a small one. Then I go up and make the loop of the body. Then I add the little loop of the bottom. And then I jump my pen back up to the top and I do the big and the little again. And of course you can add little antenna if you'd like. And some details. Isn't that so cute? All right, are we ready for our garden? All right, so this is the garden so far. So we're on day 16, which means we have done 15 days of beautiful organic and floral patterns. Look how cute this is looking, and look at all the embellishments. So what we're going to do on the last day is we will go back and add some embellishments to the whole piece. So if you have any spaces that look kind of empty, like we'll go back and fill that in later with little fairy bees or butterflies or dragonflies, ladybugs, all kinds of things. Okay, so I've got my little boulder builder right there from yesterday. And we're going to try to think about where we want our flux blossom to land. So I think I'm going to do 3 of them, 1 down towards the bottom, and then probably 2 up in the top area. And when we make that first flux shape, we don't need a lot of space above it because, as you can see right here, I'm sorry, we do need space above it because we have that bump and then we have more petals. So make sure that first flux that you make is not too close to something else. And then here I'm just showing you that you can make it different sizes. You can make really large ones, you could make really tiny ones. So you decide according to your space. All right, and you want the point at the bottom, round at the top. Then we're going to put in those 2 side petals. And remember, those side petals are going to jump up a little bit taller and then come down. And don't be afraid to make those nice and wide. 1 and 2. Looking beautiful. And then we want to put in that bump. Oh, and I'm showing you there that I did not touch, like those 2 petals do not touch. I left a little bit of space. There's our bump. We can put in our little circles. If you're not a fan of the little circles, then you can put in some cross hatching or some striping, or you can just fill it in all dark if you would like. Now we need to make those 2 little lines at the top, and this is just going to help us know where to put the next petal. And remember, it's not a complete petal. We go up and curve and come down. Then we go down a little bit on each side. And then our next one is going to come down and connect to the other petals. It's so cute. I'm just going to put in a straight stem, but you can curve yours if you would like. And then we're going to add those little flicks of our pen with the dot. And I want you to just pause for a second and notice how beautiful it is, but also how flat it is compared to the tangles around it. And I kind of love when we do this that it looks flat until we add some shading. So we don't always love it at first. All right, I'm going to do another one up here. Do the point at the bottom and curve up and around. This one I'm making just a little bit bigger to play around with size. Then I jump up the side and down, making those a little bit taller than the first one. Add that bump. And for this one, I'm just going to do some cross hatching just to be a little bit different. We want to put those 2 little lines on top and connect those with a bump. And then go down on each side, down on the other side, and then down and connect to the other petals. I love it. All right, put in our little lines and dots. And you're welcome to play around and add different things inside there, different decorations, whatever you want to do. This would also be beautiful orad. All right, I'm going to put in my stem coming down from the center. And then I'm showing you that you've got the option to have the next one come off of the first stem if you want. So you can make your stem next and then leave a space where it connects to the next flower, or your flower can be separate and be its own stem. So there's mine. I decided to just do a stem all by itself. Over here I'm showing like the curved stems that are thick, and then that curved stem that is thin, and then a thick stem that is straight. So varying what you do. If they're all curvy or they're all straight, it won't look as good. Okay, this is a great part of the video where I actually make a mistake, even though there's no mistakes in Zentangle. So you can tell I'm pausing, like thinking about what to do. So I made my flux upside down for this pattern. And I'm trying to decide what to do. So I'm looking back at other things to see if there's like another pattern I can make out of it. Maybe I can just add some petals and make it my own. But what I decide to do is make my Fluxblossom over a little bit, and then I'm going to use that little mistake as one of its leaves. So that's what I'm doing. I don't know if it's the best choice. It's just once you put something on paper, you've got to just sort of handle it. So that's what I'm doing here. Make sure I start with the point at the bottom and then round at the top. So I'm curving mine, turning it a little bit so the flower will be kind of tipping. And then I do that tall petal on both sides. And then I connect them with a bump. And I'm into the cross hatching again in here. Then I need those top petals, and I like those first two little lines to guide us. Connect those, go down a little bit on each side, and then do your last one that connects to the bottom petals. So now I'm realizing, well, I'm putting in my lines and dots, but I'm realizing that my little mistake petal there isn't lining up perfectly to be on a stem. So I'm just going to go for it. I'm just going to put in the stem and hope it works. So I'm coming off the side there. Look at that. I'm just going right beside it because I don't have much choice. And I actually think it's kind of cute that these are pointing down, like that flower's kind of tipping and these little leaves are coming down. Now, someone in the comments mentioned I should have brought the stem down below the boulder, and I think I just forgot to do that. So it definitely should come down. Now I'm putting in little flux leaves on the other two. And you can make these as big or as small as you want. I love putting a couple on the ground. That stem definitely should come through. I just forgot. So look at that little mistake. It looks like we did it on purpose, and I kind of love it. So there's always ways to make the best of things. And now I'm talking about the border and how I love adding, oh no, I'm not. I'm talking about the little, what's it called? Beautifly. So we make the big wing, little wing, curve of the body, curve on the bottom, and then the big wing and little wing of the other side. So these are just so cute to put in anywhere, and mine was close to the top, and so I loved being able to put the antenna over the border. You could add a couple of dots if you want to make it look like he's in motion, and some little details. Very cute. I think I do one more down in that bottom area. Oh, I did the dragonfly this time. So my cute little wings, curly Q, and some antenna. Another one over here, and I let it cross over my tile. I love these little embellishments and additions. I just think they are so cute and help fill the spaces. So now on that top border, I'm just going to add a few flux because that's what we've got going on, and some of those circles or orbs because we had them on the previous tile and we had them on the previous tangle. So here you can see me adding some around those boulders. It's a great way to add some things to the bottom. Here I put one in between the boulders. Very cute. It's almost like it's holding them up. And now I'm drawing the stem. I didn't realize I did end up putting the stem in there. And then if you have any little background space, you can always add ink just to darken it. That looks really cute. All right, so up at the top, I'm going to do a few embellishments, and I'm going to do the flux. So these can go any direction. They can be large, they can be small. You can add some of the orbs or circles to them if you want. This is just where you get to play. There's no rules. So cute. Adding a couple on the ends. I think it looks pretty good. It looks pretty full. I just need to add some grass. And I love to make my grass just these little, like a series of the letter U. And then I go back and I ink it all in. And as I'm inking it, sometimes I just let my pen go up higher and I make a taller piece of grass. Or I'll go back and do it after I get those all filled in. See how I'm just elongating a few of those. All right, so now it's time to shade. So the first thing I'm going to do is put it on top of those bumps. I'm going to go ahead and do all three. And then I'm going to put it in the bottom of each petal. You don't need to do the top petals because we already have that little bit of graphite in there. So do those bottom petals and those side petals, and you're just putting the slightest amount of graphite in there. And same thing on those leaves. All right, grab my blending tool, and I'm going to start with those bumps, and I'm just going to push it up. And look at that beautiful shadow it makes. What a difference. These go from looking flat and two-dimensional to looking thick and three-dimensional. Now I'm going to each little petal and just pushing some of that graphite up slightly. I tend to go pretty quickly at this. Even as I'm rewatching it, I'm like, wow, I really go fast. I apologize for that. Beautiful leaves. And then I like to take my blending tool that already has some graphite and I put a little bit at the top of each stem. And then I'm going to add a little bit around the outside edges of these petals. You do not have to do this part, but I want you to look at this first flower after I add that little bit of pencil, and then I push it out and away. Look at how layered those petals look now. Look at that depth. That one compared to the one next to it. So you don't have to do that part. It's kind of tedious, but it really adds a nice element. And I kind of wish I had put a little bit of graphite over the top of the petals where they are meeting the bottom of that bump, but I didn't do that. That would have darkened that center a little bit. And I'm just adding a little bit to the parts that overlap another petal. It's amazing to me what a little bit of graphite can do. And you can tell I'm just putting one little line in. I'm not putting a lot, it's not thick. And we push it out just the slightest. And then my blending tool already has some graphite on it, so I can go back and add some more little shadows, like where the stem tucks in behind the boulder. And I can add them to the bottom of those little flux embellishments that we did. And the inside part of those wings, where it's closest to the body of the dragonfly. And the butterfly, I can do it, oh, I'm covering it, right along the outside of his little body. Just a tiny bit. What do you guys think? I think that looks pretty amazing. I always like to go back and just move that graphite around a little bit. But look at that, Fluxblossom, a beautiful addition to our garden. We have 7 more days to add. Thank you so much for being patient with me as the first video was released with no audio and now this very strange voiceover. I hope that it was okay to watch. I feel like I talked more in the voiceover than I do in the regular videos, but I'm excited to add tomorrow's tangle. And then on Friday, I will do the gratitude giveaway drawing. And I'll pick a number from friends that purchased a kit from me, and we'll do a little giveaway. So thank you so very much. And we'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye. Oh, I'm showing you the little bird. This was number 27, although somebody did get number 27. I accidentally did it twice. So I just kept this one for myself. But if you got a kit, you got this adorable little bird that I drew and painted, and on the back is a number. So when I do the drawing, you can check the back of your birds. I'm not sure what I'm saying here, but we'll see you tomorrow. Thank you. Bye-bye.